A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. For today's Fajr talk, I sincerely hope that Brother Rafiq Janjua and Brother and Allama Yusuf Habib, they are there. Because the topic which we are going to discuss today in Bi-Ism Allah, Bism instead of Bi-Ism, Bism Allah. So I think they are more competent and they have more knowledge on the subject. So I think if they are there, it will be beneficial for me that I'll be gaining at the end if they have any comment. Bi-Ism is generally translated as in the name of Allah, in the name of, that is the meaning which is assigned to Bi. Bi-Ism is also translated as on behalf of and in behalf of. Billah is translated as by God. Last time also we had tried to understand some of the meanings of Bi. Now, in the Usmani manuscript of the Holy Quran, which was compiled at the time of the Caliphate of Hazrat Usman alayhi salam, in that compilation, the 7 copies which they prepared and spread in the world, the letter Alif has been, it was, but it remains, has been dropped from the word Ism and Ba, Sim and Ba, Seen, Mim and Ba. And it has been directly joined with its letter Seen. So the first compilers of Quran who collected this material, who compiled all the surah, named them, sequenced them, they were careful about everything. And they earnestly, they removed Alif and they directly wrote Bism, not Bi-Ism, but Bism, making Ba look like the part of this word so that beginning is made in effect, in writing and in pronunciation, in communion, I'm repeating, in communion with the name of Allah. So here, the significance of Ba, dropping Alif, directly combining with Seen, Mim, is, I'm going very slowly because this is a very important aspect which has been discussed by the scholars, that it is because the communion with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is intended. It is important to note that Alif, the first letter of Arabic alphabet, Alif, is not dropped in other combinations of word Ism. Bi-Ismi Rabbika, we don't say Bismi Rabbika. Even in Quran, even in Hadith, it is very clearly and separately written. But here in Bismillahir Rahmaanir Rahim, we are discussing Bismillahir Rahmaanir Rahim. We have discussed the introduction. Then we discussed the phrase Bismillah. And now we are discussing Bi-Ism. And in fact, Bism, not Bi-Ism, as it has been used in this phrase. And in other combinations, Ism is used and it is not combined. This shows the depth of desire of the believer, and particularly those who compiled, collected, collated, compiled the first manuscript. The depth of desire of the believer for dedication and devotion of intent, purpose, and action. These are 3 important points, 3 important words which are used in jurisprudence, in any legal philosophy, in any legal system. But here in Bi-Ism, instead of Bi-Ism, Bism, these three important aspects of our systems: intent, purpose, and action. If, for example, I may give an example, if somebody is accused, then, and when the, besides the facts, besides the factual position, besides the event, when at the higher level in the judiciary discussion takes place on the points of law, then intent, purpose, and action, they are also important factors. There may be evidence, there may be everything on record which may corroborate the action. But if there is no intent and there is no purpose and there is no action, you cannot punish the accused. And so many other aspects are there. So these are, in fact, three important aspects which we find, the philosophers have find, the scholars have find, and they say that all these three things are apparent in the first compilation when they said Bism, not Be'ism. And this also points out one thing more, which is the basis of taqwa. Taqwa cannot be conceived. Achieving is a different, is a far fetched thing. Not only achieving taqwa, but even conceiving taqwa is not possible without humility. This is the basis of taqwa. In all humility to Allah, without lingual or literal distance. This is very important to note in Bism. Lingual or literal distance, if we bring in alif and we say Bi-ism, the scholars, they say that this creates the lingual distance. This creates the literal distance between Bi and Ism, that is the Ism of Allah. Even standing of a single letter, alif, in between, that is between the letter Bi and Ism, the standing of alif is not supported. All that the closeness requires in humbleness and humility, in taqwa, consciousness, in connectivity. We claim consciousness, we claim connectivity, but it's not possible without humbleness, without humility, in sincere submission of Qalb Salim, Ibrahim Salim, Ibrahim's heart, Qalb of Ibrahim alayhi salam, like Ibrahim alayhi salam. Can we achieve that state in all humility? He was simply asked, do you submit? He said, yes, I've submitted. I'm in submission. In all humility. He didn't argue. He didn't ask another question. He didn't wait. There was no pause, no thinking. Behold, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, explains this, and this is the ayat. Abraham was in fact a model, devotedly obedient to Allah. Devotedly obedient. This is devotedly obedient is in fact the outcome, is the manifestation of the humility which one shows. But literally, linguistically, when writing or when pronouncing, it is manifest in bism instead of saying ism. These are the ayat. I'm not explaining that. No, closeness and bism. Closeness and bism, not ism, but bism. Now, here is the discussion for which I desired that Brother Rafiq Janjua and Allama Abdullah Yusuf are there, so that I may get their guidance from them, I may be guided. The amalgamation of ba or be with ism as bism takes us into the new realm of tasawwuf. It is usually translated as mysticism, but mysticism is not the exact translation of tasawwuf, in my view, although it has usually been translated as such. This will also be clarified in the discussion which will follow. In the Eastern tradition, it implies closeness and communion with God. Now, this closeness and communion is also one of the bases of Protestant Christianity, not the Catholic. Protestant Christianity, but that is not the topic of our discussion today. Implying closeness and communion with God without any intermediary, without any intercession, without any intercessor or interconnector. Those who believe in the Shafa, intercession of any prophet or any person or anything. I think this is something very important for their consideration also. Closeness and communion with God without any intermediary or intercessor or interconnector by removing Aleph. This is a philosophy. The why Aleph is removed. Only this much distance of one letter is also not being supported and contradicts the idea of curtain. They said that Aleph between Ba and Ism in Bisin Meme stands as a curtain. So that curtain was removed and Bism is written. In this sense, nearness or communion, as the Protestants claim, is not just mystic. It is not mystic. It is not mythic in the Western concept and in the sense of being wholly ineffable or unclear as in Sufism. This is very important to understand that these mystic ideas are mythic ideas, both philosophies, mystic and mythic, both these ideas, and also the ineffable explanations which some of the sects, which tasawwuf, there are innumerable sects of tasawwuf, and they have created ineffable or unclear hallucinations of their own experiences, of individual experiences. I'm emphasizing the individual experiences which they claim, which they cannot transfer to anybody else, which they cannot prove through any empiricism, which they cannot prove scientifically, which they cannot even prove philosophically, or even in any algorithm. But they are just ineffable, unclear claims of individuals. Characteristically, Christian mysticism is also centered on prayer to God. It is believed that God is accessible. They believe that God is accessible through scripture, sacraments, and Jesus Christ. And here, some people in Islam also, they place all these three things within the philosophy of Islam. That God is accessible through Muhammad, somebody will say through Ali, somebody says through Hussein, somebody says through so and so. And they have assigned spirituality, divinity, and powers of intercession. Whereas the compilation of Quran and the interpretation of Quran, the very word of Quran shows that even alf, when any alif, anybody in between is not acceptable. The Quran presents a clear course to bring the slave nearer than the nearest to his Lord. In one of the ayat, for example, in the last ayat of Surah 96, the word iqtarib is used. It is imperative. It is causative. It causes. It gives an order. It is an ordainment that you come closer to me when there is no so there is no difference. But the philosophers of Quran, they have interpreted another ayat also. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي أَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Here, no superlative is used, no comparison is given, just the word Kareeb is used. Why just the word Kareeb is used? And they say it has been used in this verse without any comparative, without any superlative, just as Kareeb. It has not been used as iktarib, as superlative or comparative, because it makes it absolute. When you only say Kareeb, it makes it absolute that it can't be more close. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I am Kareeb, there cannot be anything else more Kareeb, and there cannot be anything in between Allah as Kareeb and his slave. There can't be anything in between as intercessor. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي, when my slaves, they are asking you, an exclamation. فَإِنِّي قَرِيب, although for I am close to them. Absolute terms, close to them. And then it is further strengthened. Ujib, I am the one who accepts. I am the one who redesigns. When you make a supplication to me, I redesign things. And the only thing is that how Kareeb you are and how much dawa you make, not the dua. Is a dan when the dai makes the dawa, claim. So absolute terms, here Kareeb means so close that it can't be more close. Faini Kareeb. There cannot be anything closer than God, which is one of the names of God, Kareeb. It is Allah's name. Can anybody be more close than God? It depicts the model of the universe. It portrays the idea of the worldview. What is worldview? For example, word arz has been used singular, and everything else as samawat is in plural. The model is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created such a model that the observer, wherever he steps, on the moon or in the Mars, that Mars is singular as us at that time for the observer. The moon is singular for him at that time as the earth. Everything else is plural, over and above and so on the sides and everywhere is muhit. Can man present a model where any point in that model where the observer is standing is the earth and everything around is a samawat? So wherever mind is, the model is such that he is Kareeb, he is equidistant. The man standing on moon is as Kareeb to God as the man standing on moon. He is Kareeb. This portrays the world view, that what is the concept of God. Amantu billah, we simply say, but we don't go into the philosophy of Quran, into the word of Quran, and we don't open up through the philology, through its word. Allah comes in between a man and his heart. Yahulu bain al mar'i wa qalbi. Can there be anything closer than the idea, the intention? Yes. The one who creates this idea, Shah, ma tashaun illa an yasha Allah. He is the creator of the idea which I am thinking. There can't be anything closer than that. That is why they dropped Alif. He is Kareeb. These are some ayat through which I have tried to explain. Bism, instead of Bism, Bism is an appeal. Appeal in the name of Allah. When we say Bism, it is an appeal. It has an interpreted that it is not just the dua. It is an appeal. It is a claim of Qurbat, of Kareeb, to the Kareeb. An invocation in his own overall greatness as manifest in the glory of his own. Even in the world, when you make an appeal in the name of the queen or king, you look at the history, how the address is made to the king, how the appeal is made to the glory. Even in the legal systems, when the mercy appeal is made by the person who is going to be hanged tomorrow, and if he makes a mercy petition, how he makes the mercy petition in the name of the sovereign. This mercy petition always lies in the name of the sovereign. In some countries it is president. In the constitution, where there are constitutional governments, yes, there are constitutional states. And in some countries it is in the name of the king. Look at the documents of the Roman Empire. The glory of his own name without involving any intermediary. So close that it presents the worldview, the model of the universe, that where he stands. He is Kareem, whether you are in the solar system or you are you are outside the solar system. The appeal is made in his own name, not because, as people say, oh Allah, I beseech you that give me this thing for the sake of the Prophet, give me something for the sake of so and so, for the sake of my charity. Appeal, mercy appeal particularly, in all the tradition, the human tradition and any philosophical tradition is always made in the particular personal, in his own name, to himself, not to the government. At that time, you don't make the appeal to the government. You don't make appeal to the parliament. You don't make appeal to the state. You don't make appeal to the constitution or to the law. You don't quote any law. It is just an appeal to himself, who is all ever able, powerful to all things, and grant his ever all gracious benevolence. The invocation is, in fact, the proclamation or declaration of faith, of belief. Kul, kul huwa Allah, kul. Then it is declaration. Kant said that enlightenment can only be claimed when you are able to declare the truth. You don't hide it. Not declaring the truth, not believing is kufr. It may be shirk. This is the philosophy of the Renaissance. Kant said that declaration, saying it openly, proclaiming it, is enlightenment. If it is not proclaimed, it is not declared, it means you are not enlightened. The proclamation or declaration, Kul huwa Allahu ahad, Kul ya ayyuhal kafirun la abud ma ta'budun. This is the Kul, this is proclamation or declaration of faith. This is Kant's declaration, which is the basis of Renaissance. In the high exalted great name itself of Allah, in the overall almightiness, omnipotence, benevolence, and mercy of Allah alone, and His most beautiful, best attributes. Last time we had seen that some scholars have classified the most beautiful, best attributes of Allah in certain classifications and categories. And one of the classification last time we discussed was that there are certain names and attributes which define, which introduce us to the person of God, the Godhead. And there are others which define our relationship with God. He is my Khalik, He is my Bari, He is my Razik, He is my Razak, He is my Rabb. They all indicate my relationship. And that gives me the faith to make a claim on God. Oh God, my Rabb, where I should go? I can't go anywhere else except you. I am sinful. Yes, I know. I have done this wrong. I am ashamed of this. A tawbat is linked with nadm. A nadm is tawbah. For tawbah, nadm is very necessary. When the slave returns, irji ila rabbik, when he returns to God with the nadm, and nadm is manifest in tawbah. I've come to you because my relationship with you is that you are the forgiver. His most beautiful best names, one most important part of classification of his beautiful names is that he has himself introduced the relationships, the different aspects of relationships with him. Communion and mysticism. Generally, the word mysticism is used for belief and teachings which hold, the mysticism holds that knowledge of God and the real truth, Haqq, Allah is Haqq, can be obtained through practices of meditation or an insight independently of mind and senses. Mind and senses. This is the basis of the philosophy of mysticism, tasawwuf, which they call insight without mind and senses. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when you are sukara, you are not in you are out of your mind is not in place, you don't understand your own word, your senses are affected. Don't come to me, don't talk to me. Allah wants qalb salim. He doesn't want any hazy mind and hallucinations of mind and senses. Ibrahim alayhi salam was asked to come with qalb salim, with taslim, and it can't be without mind and senses. Look at this philosophy. You examine this philosophy yourself. The truth or reality, the real truth, can be obtained through practices of meditation, which are personal experiences, not collective. Quran is addressing in collective terms. And they say that this insight is independent of mind and senses. The realization of truth beyond man's understanding. Beyond man's understanding. These are not my words. This is a philosophy of mysticism. Realization of truth beyond man's understanding. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you have to seek me, you have to search for me, as Ibrahim alayhi salam did, and Islam has named after him. He has been made the Imam of all the human beings. It is through understanding. Tazakkur, tafakkur, tadabbur, ta'akul. Do you think it is possible without man's understanding? But our people who claim themselves Sufi, and they propagate this philosophy, and at the same time they claim, you decide yourself that they are Muslims. By seeking union with God, this is also the philosophy of the Protestants, that God can be sought, you can search for God without understanding, beyond man's understanding, without mind and without senses. In this way, an effort is made for seeking hidden meaning or spiritual power that they claim, that causes awe and wonder. In hallucinations, there is awe and wonder, but there is no philosophy, there's no understanding, there's no sequence, there's no algorithm. It is an umbrella term, mysticism. I'm trying to clarify this because some people, many people, some scholars, they have interpreted BISM in terms of mysticism. It is an umbrella term for practices, experiences, etc., in which direct awareness and union with God or ultimate reality is claimed. Is claimed, it means without understanding, without tazakkur, without tafakkur, without zikr, without tazakkur, and without mind, without senses. We are living in the world of senses. Three-dimensional world of senses. Cause and effect is world of senses. We can't deny this science, that the physical world is the world of senses, in which we can perceive through five senses. Allah has not given one sense, but He has given us five senses. And on top of five senses, He has given the sixth sense, extrasensory perception, ESP. He has given us reflexes, strengthened these fields of our senses with reflexes. How can we ignore all these things and we go into coma, lose our sense, and in senselessness, in coma, we say that we have direct union with God? Therefore, it is in the inner quest, they claim, they argue, it is in the inner quest for the most direct experience of presence of God. God says, I am Zahir, I am Batin, I am Awwal, I am Akhir, I am Haq, I am Kareeb, I am with you, I am in you. I am in your thought, I am before your thought. You can't exist. Nothing can exist without his own Shah. He's present. It implies, they say, that there is knowledge of highest level which is not accessible to human understanding or sense experience. They deny the understanding or sense experience. Please note this. They deny the faculty of understanding, the capacity of understanding, and sense experience to understand God. Whereas Ibrahim alayhi salam understood God, found God through senses, through senseful understanding of the physical phenomena of nature of this world, the moon, the sun, the day, the night, and every physical phenomena. And they claim it may be attainable intuitively or through some disciplinary practices like physical meditation, physical disciplinary practices. For example, Imam, the leader who was leader in Algeria, who in fact fought for the independence of Algeria, Imam Qadir, he used to stand on one leg at night. He would stand on one leg at night for me in meditation, but he would not offer. If somebody says that I can't offer salat, I have no time to offer salat, and the salat is not necessary, but I am ready to stand on one leg for God in order to find him through some disciplinary practices. And they think that they are expanding these states of consciousness. So all explanations of Bism in the mystic sense, you decide yourself. I'm leaving it to your judgment. Problem is that there are as many practices, as many sects in mysticism as the number of cultures and subcultures. It goes mainly with the cultures. In Hindu cultures, there are different versions of mysticism. In Greek culture, there are totally different sects of mysticism. Similarly, in every culture, many practices which cannot be classified strictly as religious, particularly in a specific sense of the term, Deen prescribe techniques of contemplation and meditation as means to mystical experience, not the Sharia, but these practices. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. God willing, next time, if you will allow me, I'll continue from here.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم أوزعنا أن نشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علينا وعلى والدينا وأن نعمل صالحا ترضاه. اللهم اصلح لنا في ذريتنا إنا تبنا إليك وإننا من المسلمين. Oh Allah, spread your mercy upon us, shower us with your blessings, increase our knowledge, grant us forgiveness, and reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who have passed away. Oh Allah, make their graves a garden from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, we have many of our friends and relatives who are sick. Oh Allah, we have our son Ma'raj, our daughter Aisha Wani, and many others. Oh Allah, grant all of them full and speedy recovery. Oh Allah, we know that there is no cure but yours. Oh Allah, grant them a cure that leaves no ailment or injury. Oh Allah, guide our children, protect them and make them righteous. Oh Allah, grant us the power and the ability that we may be grateful for the favor that you have bestowed upon us and our parent, and that we may do righteous deeds that are pleasing to you. Oh Allah, we seek from you all of the good, whether we know it or we don't. And we seek your refuge from all evil, whether we know it or we don't. Oh Allah, we ask with every name you have elected for yourself, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weaknesses have been concealed, and his sins have been forgiven. Subhanallah, and his needs have been fulfilled. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, adada khalqih wa rida nafsih wa zinat arshih wa midada kalimatih. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, adada khalqih wa rida nafsih wa zinat arshih wa midada kalimatih. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, adada khalqih wa rida nafsih wa zinat arshih wa midada kalimatih. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.